In Modern Warfare, you play as Sergeant Soap, a typical working class bloke tricked into joining the SAS on the promise of travelling the world. And travel he will. But before joining them, he has to prove himself by completing a training course in a respectable time. Complete it in 15 seconds to get an achievement.
Go, go, go! Hit the top, hit the top, hit the top!
1 hour later.
Go, go, go! Hit the top! Let's go!
Having proven we can efficiently shoot plywood, we join Captain The Price is Right and fruit-killing complementarian Gaz on a cheeky little raid of a ship our informant has told us to check out. And we've been informed that on this mission, the crew is expendable. But just because we can go loud doesn't mean we have. We're the good guys. With the crew expended, we find that they were transporting a nuke, but they have the proper paperwork, so it's all good. However, the crew's backup arrives and attacks the ship, so we quickly make our way off and watch the ship and the nuke sink to the ocean floor, conveniently solving that problem, I guess. The paperwork points to coup d'etat leader Khaled Al-Asad as the nuke's intended buyer. We then move on to an unplayable mission as President Al-Fulani, who is in the process of being couped. This occurs in a conveniently unnamed region of the Middle East, but that's both cowardly and makes writing about it difficult, so I'm just gonna say it's Egypt. The president is taken to an arena where he's forced to duel Khaled. Unfortunately, Khaled manages to drop the president's life points to 0 when he summons the unstoppable bullet to the face. Meanwhile, in Russia, there's a civil war occurring, so we have to rescue our informant Nikolai from the ultra-nationalist forces with the help of the loyalist forces led by Sergeant Kamarov. After spending some time helping the loyalists regain a village, Gaz politely but firmly asks Kamarov where the informant is being held. Once he nicely lets us know he's in a house at the end of the village, we head off to rescue him. But after we get him on a chopper, he gives an ominous warning that the Americans will never take Khaled alive. But why would the Americans be trying to take Khaled at all? Well, it turns out, worried that Khaled overthrowing the old regime may create political instability in the region, the United States decides the calm and rational thing to do is invade Egypt and overthrow the new regime. If you're wondering on whose authority they can do that, that's adorable. And so we switch perspectives to Sergeant Paul Jackson of the US Marine Corps on their way to invade the town they presume Khaled is broadcasting a speech from. With some patience, discipline, and bravely cowering in a corner to avoid grenade blasts, we make our way to the broadcasting station to find Khaled's speech is on a loop and he is not here. The military intelligence was embarrassingly wrong, probably because they haphazardly came in all guns blazing without any extensive strategizing beforehand, which I will commend them for being very true to life. One of the Marines, Griggs, decides to play a CD.
Hoorah!
This will be important later. The new intelligence is that Khaled has presumably retreated to the presidential palace, so we regroup and begin pushing further into the city via the power of friendship and killing hundreds of people defending a country we had no right to invade. We're the good guys. Meanwhile, back in Russia, the SAS chopper gets shot down, but they all conveniently survive. The pilots don't, but there's nothing left for them to pilot anyway, so we make our way through a Russian village whilst trying to survive behind enemy lines.
Alright, let's top these bastards before they kill the old man.
We eventually get reinforcements in the form of an AC-130, and having witnessed its overwhelming firepower from the ground, it's clear no enemy combatants could do anything when faced with its might. There would be no satisfaction in defeating the enemy this way. It would be hollow. We then start the next mission where we control the AC-130 and rain down hell on mere dots to protect our allies. This mission is very cleverly named Death from Above. We're the good guys? With the SAS squad safe, we rejoin Paul and the Marines. Having finally pushed far enough into the city, it's presumed we have Khaled locked down and we're making the final push towards him. SAS intel says he may have a Russian warhead, so speed is critical. We fly through the sky, launching grenade after grenade at enemy combatants to kill a guy we presume is in the presidential palace and whose death we presume will stabilize the region. This mission is called Shock and Awe. If you're familiar with contemporary American military history, you don't need any more foreshadowing to know this isn't going to go well. We land to do a few more kills before being told the nuclear threat was real and to retreat, but before we can, a friendly chopper is downed.
Mayday, this is deadly going in hard.
Women pilots, am I right, fellas? Yeah, alright, that was uncalled for. Women are just as competent at being foreign invaders as men. We stop to rescue her and make our escape, but oh no! That means we spent enough time to get caught in the blast of the nuke that, oh my god, can you believe it, actually got detonated? Who could have seen that coming? With the chopper downed, Paul wakes up and crawls out of the wreckage and into an apocalyptic hellscape, surviving long enough to get a good look at the mushroom cloud and know that he, his squad, and thousands if not tens of thousands of others died for no reason. But at least this proves we're the good guys. Only bad guys use nukes. Oh wait. And so we return to the SAS, where Nikolai has informed us that Khaled may be hiding in a safe house in Azerbaijan. Why he decided to only reveal this info now is conveniently never brought up, and we infiltrate yet another country so we can capture Khaled. Price politely but firmly asks who sold him the nuke, but his war criming is interrupted when Khaled's phone rings and Price, shocked at how rude it was that Khaled didn't get up to answer it, reveals he's something of a duelist himself. Remember, extrajudicial violence is fine because we're the good. Having intercepted the call to Khaled from ultra-nationalist leader Imran Zakayev, we realise it was him behind the Egyptian coup to draw tension away from the Russian Civil War. So all it would have taken for his plan to fail would be for America to resist the urge to invade the Middle East for 1 fucking second. With that, we flash back to 15 years earlier, where at the time Lieutenant Price takes part in a stealth mission alongside Captain Macmillan with the intent to assassinate Zakayev in Chernobyl. Wonder how that will go. We quietly move through the tall grass, undetected thanks to our ghillie suits. We quietly take out the enemies along the way, undetected thanks to our silenced weapons. And we quietly take out an enemy helicopter by firing multiple Stinger missiles, undetected by the rest of the enemies somehow, allowing us to set up a sniper position in an abandoned hotel where we wait 3 days until a deal is being made. We get sights on Zakayev and prepare to take the shot. 1 clean shot through the neck is all we need. Well, he lost an arm, so Macmillan assures us shock and blood loss will take care of the rest. So we make our daring escape just in the nick of time, having solved relations with Russia forever. With the flashback over, we return to the present as the SAS escape from Azerbaijan thanks to a Marine squad including Sergeant Griggs. Remember him? The guy who played the CD? Very memorable character. Glad to see him back. And now that we've teamed up with the Marines, we can infiltrate Russia, again, to find out where Zakayev is. His near-death experience 15 years ago taught him to be even more careful than he had been. So instead, we're going after his much less careful son. Kamarov knows where he is, somehow, so we make a plan to grab him and politely but firmly torture the information out of him. The mission is a success up until the final moment when, cornered on a roof, Imran's son decides to delete his biological hard drive. But Price says Zakayev won't let this go unanswered, which will bring him out of the shadows so we can get a clear shot on him. And out of the shadows he comes. He calls out the West for having invaded Egypt, Russia and Azerbaijan, as well as hunting down and killing the leader of a foreign nation, and directly leading to the death of Zakayev's son. He politely but firmly tells them to leave Russia or face the consequences. All of this is understandable and kinda hard to argue with, so to be sure we don't start sympathising with him, he also launches 2 nukes at America. Hooray! We're still the good guys, arguably. Off to the launch site we go. Gaz fell over when breaking open a fence. That's not relevant to the story, but it was oddly endearing. Casualty projections from these nukes? Over 41 million. The SAS failed to take out the nuclear arms dealer 15 years ago. The Marines failed to take out the nuke holder in Egypt. Then together, they failed to grab Zakayev's son, and as a result, 2 nukes were launched on the US. But we've been able to fight our way to the launch site, input the abort codes provided by the Russian loyalists, and conveniently disable the nukes mid-flight. The nukes that wouldn't have been launched if America hadn't invaded Egypt in the first place, or if they'd left Russia when politely but firmly asked to. But now Zakayev is making his escape via helicopter, so logically we think to chase after him with trucks. This doesn't go well for obvious reasons and gets even worse when the bridge we're heading towards is destroyed. Turns out the ultra-nationalists were 1 step ahead of us. Obviously. I mean, we were the ones chasing them. With trucks for some reason. We get scattered, but seem to be recovering before another missile hits the bridge. We're disorientated. Likely injured. Possibly fatally. Griggs grabs us to take us to safety. He's shot down. Price is alive? Maybe. But Zakayev has arrived on scene. For some reason. I mean, he was home free, he could have just flown away and left his men to clean up. Why would he? Ah, shit, gas fell over again. And we're probably next. But a chopper being shot down distracts Zakhaev and his men long enough for Price to slide us his pistol and finally end this. Objective completed. Zakhaev is dead. And all it took was the invasion and destabilization of multiple countries, the deaths of thousands including your squad, and the world being in an overall worse state than when we started. Were we ever the good guys? I don't know what to say. I guess all that's left is for a massive tone shift with the bonus mission, Mile High Club. Although it's just a quick 1-minute mission. Barely a challenge. I mean, this is me beating it on Veteran where I flashbanged myself 3 times and killed multiple enemies while firing blindly. My squad mates took out some enemies for me. I even ran past some of them at the end. Very easy. Only took me literally 917 attempts. Bye! You have completed? Come on, Activision.